What I really got out of this is that shoulder padded shirts are just really all the rave on Romulus, right?
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
I
aren't
mean,
they?
like I imagine a planet full of people walking around decked out in their finest, but like really they just look like Herman Munster.
Yeah. Oh, you're correct, sir.
And then when you see this guy, it's like, okay, so clearly their social standing, if not exclusively military in nature, it's entirely based upon the angle and height of said shoulder pads.
Yeah,
So
they're
like,
all about it.
And
oh,
also,
if you chase this high enough, I'm betting that their emperor or high chancellor or whatever probably dresses like a stegosaurus. Like,
okay.
I don't know.
also,
They're definitely some kind of armor plated ancient lizards.
Also, I think like the pointiness of their sideburns too
Oh yeah.
is also
That's right. Listen, there's a lot of points involved in Romulan looks. It's the points on the edge of your shoulder pads, and it's the points on the edge of your sideburns. And the pointier the edges are, the closer to Jesus. I'm just kidding, everybody. They used to say that, tease your hair higher up, Jesus.
I don't think that translates well to Romulus.
It doesn't. I'm sure they don't believe in Jesus, but
no.
probably not.
They don't really seem like turn the other cheek type people.
No, not at all. I think they are the exact opposite of turn the other cheek.
Right.
I think they are if you hit me, I'll hit you harder, dude. I think they're those guys.
They're very Old Testament, right?
Yeah, there you go. I'll smite you good. That's what they're doing. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna tell Joe. So the Romulans and the Vulcans are from the same like originator, and so it's like the Romulans have taken all of the like emotions that the Vulcans don't want, and just turned them all into like war emotions.
Oh, okay.
So they're like happy, but it's because they're fighting, or they're just they just
Pretty
always
much.
seem like they're angry, even when they're not angry. Which is weird because the Klingons are kind of like that, but you actually see them laughing and happy sometimes.
Yeah, so the Romulans really need therapy.
They almost seem like they're too clean cut when you look at them for that. Like, they do seem like they're probably like stuck up or, or bookish, or they're quiet. Like, they have several different things, but they're really just angry.
Yeah. They definitely need to talk it out a little bit more. I don't think they see that as an option yet.
Mm-mm.
No, not at all. But, kind of after all this sort of posturing and all that, Picard is like, my people are ready to die if need be. But before that, it's when Admiral Jarrock really understands what's actually happened here. He basically is like, everything that I saw, all the information, all of the timetables and all that business, it was all made up. And Tomalak was like, yeah, pretty much. We were set out to see how loyal you were, and you totally are not loyal to us. And so he's full of just worthless information that will do the Federation no good. And so, Picard's like, look, my crew is ready to die if it's for a just and honorable cause, but are you ready to die too? And then that's when we get the payoff to the breadcrumb trail, where Picard tells Worf, he just tells him, Mr. Worf, and Worf does his thing, and decloaking our 3 Klingon bird of prey, and they are ready for a fight because they hate the Romulans and they're always ready to fight. And, of course, Tomalak realizes, okay, this is definitely not as much in my favor as it was before. And Picard's like, yeah, we could fight each other here, and we're all going to die because none of us would survive the assault, but is that really what you want to do? And then Tomalak is basically like, I look forward to our next meeting, and the Warbirds retreat. And Picard is like, thanks, Klingon bros, you're the best. And we get our final scene of the episode here. Well, actually, before we jump into that, what did you guys think of the payoff? Like, all those little breadcrumbs about what Picard and Worf were doing, and the payoff is that they had the Klingons ready, like waiting in case they needed backup. Like, what'd you guys think when those Klingon ships decloaked?
Oh, it was so cool. I mean, that was like a fist pumping moment. It
right?
was so, and the fact that the first breadcrumb is so early in the episode that is like, as soon as this Romulan is brought aboard the Enterprise and he gets that communique from Starfleet that basically, hey, you're the one that's going to have to deal with this. He immediately had that plan in place. And it just speaks to the type of leader that Picard is that he thinks around all these corners and like he's a very cerebral leader, and it's just so awesome. Very classic.
It was very satisfying because, you know, they keep throwing little things out there and you're like, is this filler? What is this supposed to be? Why does it matter? You know, kind of like, you know, it's probably just a throwaway thing, plot holes, that kind of thing. Because, you know, it's Star Trek. We're just going to overlook when those things happen. And then it all comes together in the end. It's like, oh, you didn't do that. Yes, you did.
Yeah, I love when they decloak. We get a little hint of the Klingon musical theme that is from like classic Star Trek. Dun 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 dun. Like, we just get that little hint of that music whenever the Klingons show up. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. Like when they'll play like the Klingon theme song, like when they show up. I love that kind of stuff because it just gets you right in the mood. Like, oh, I want to see the Klingons mess some stuff up. Like, I really want to watch them fight now. And it's great that they're just hanging out waiting for Picard to like give the order, and they're just like, we're here to fight, bro.
Like as you started to say that, it just made me think of like a Klingon musical, and I'm like, oh, that would be amazing. And then there's the episode with Worf singing the Klingon opera or whatever, and it's like, yes, I need like a Klingon musical.
Oh yeah. I think we could all use a Klingon musical in our lives.
It would be so great. They would just be like all like off key and loud.
It would be a lot of it would be that. Yeah. A lot of loud singing about honor,
yes,
and fighting, and drinking the blood of your enemies.
Dying in battle.
Yeah, it's glorious. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
I'd go see it. Why not?
It would be an epic, for sure.
Klingons are basically space Vikings, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, 100.
That's a good way.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, if Thor, they're like Thor. I mean, they drink and they fight and they like to have sex with strong women. Like, they love it. It's great stuff.
Because all the ladies are very like strong and tough, kind of don't mess with them kind of women, and you know they're very like, you know, what we've kind of found out, like how Viking women are, you know. Oh, they've unearthed a tomb and it's a lady and she's got all of her weapons. Mm-hmm. Take that.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you see like Klingon women, their outfits are different. They're normally wearing like very long like dresses or skirts, but it looks like leather, basically like what maybe like the Amazons would have worn on Themyscira. Like it's that kind of stuff, because they're always ready for battle. And like all Klingons, men or women, are taught how to fight, and they're taught, you know, to like love the battle and all that stuff. And so yeah, like they're just ready to fight at a moment's notice, and I love that about the Klingons. And then they'll get drunk with you afterwards and sing songs. Who doesn't love that? It's great. So we get the final scene of our episode here. Jean-Luc is back in his quarters, and there's a bunch of people in there, and Dr. Crusher is there. She tells Picard that he ingested I can't even say this. Phylocidine chip? It's like a weird, I've never heard this term before. I think it's the only time we ever hear it on.
I don't know. I'm trying to
that was the Necco wafer we saw earlier. It was not a Necco wafer.
His sweet tart.
His sweet tart was actually poison. And he committed suicide because it's terribly sad. It really is a sad ending kind of to the story because he gave up everything, his family, his wife, his daughter, his country, his more than his country, but his planet, his society, his culture, because he thought he was doing a good thing or a morally good choice, only to find out he gave up everything for nothing. And he couldn't live with that. And so he commits suicide, and he leaves behind a letter for his wife and daughter. And Picard kind of ends the episode by saying, maybe, hopefully one day we'll be able to deliver it. When we're at peace with the Romulans, we can deliver this letter. And that's the end of our episode. So that's the Defector.
I really like that whole thing about Picard, saying that he wants to take the letter to his family if they ever get a chance, basically.
Yeah.
Because he's, he wants them to know what happened to him, and he wants there to be peace and all that, and it's like, that's all he says, but you can feel that from just the simple little saying, I hope we can give it to them someday. And it's like, oh, the emotion.
I know. No, it's a really, yeah. Joe, what'd you think about the ending?
I mean, yeah, it is a definite bit of a downer, but if anything, it even still works into the Shakespeare theme that, it has a little bit of a tragic ending to it.
Sure.
But yeah, I love that how it wraps up Picard's words, and it's almost reminiscent of like Jerry Springer's final thought, where it's like, okay, something horrible just happened, but we're gonna leave you with something that makes you feel kind of nice.
True. I don't think I've ever heard anybody compare Trek to Jerry Springer, but it works. It worked for me in that moment, and I totally understood what you meant there.
Yeah, definitely no disrespect.
Oh God, no, of course not. It's fine. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I mean, a great episode, an important episode, because it really just emphasizes the relationship that Picard has with the Romulans, how he's been involved with many times trying to bring peace between Romulus and the Federation. We know we'll see more of that in Picard, so definitely this is an important episode for us to review. So Joe, looking forward now to Picard and its debuting in January. What are some of the things that you are hoping to see in Picard, or alternatively, what are some things that you hope you will not see in Picard?
See, I don't really have lists like that going for it. I've been excited about everything that I've seen, and I'm just going into it with a completely open mind, and just, more excited than anything that Patrick Stewart came back and wanted to do this. Mm-hmm. And the trailers that they showed the trailers that they showed so far look just incredible, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching it.
Nice. Okay, great. So before we say goodnight, Joe, if people would like to get more of you, and they'd like to hear your smooth jazz voice a little bit more, or talk to you on the interwebs, where can they do that?
I host a podcast called Startcast. It is a long-form conversation show. Episodes come out kind of sporadic. They come out these days when I have time to get ones recorded up. But
sometimes
there's
very long form, just so you know.
Yeah. The episodes are typically anywhere from like 2 to 3+ hours. But there's quite a catalog of episodes. There's 70 some out there that you can go and check out. And I've had both Rebecca and Brooke on multiple episodes.
That's true.
And then Rebecca and I also do a podcast talking about comic books. That is Number One Comic Books, where every episode we each pick a new number one, and we all read them and discuss them kind of book club style.
Absolutely.
And that one is always a fun time.
Absolutely. So coming up in a future episode, you will get to hear our other co-host from Number One Comic Books. You'll get to hear Brian on a future episode of Picard Cast. He's going to be reviewing an episode with me and Brooke. And we also have Rod on Number One Comic Books with us. And he's been on your show too, Joe. As I recall, you and Rod have done a couple episodes together.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Had Rod on lots of comic book talk with Rod.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's